By the way, the reason that we are putting this on is because a couple of years ago, we elected a bunch of people to run as our county commissioners and had never met them because of COVID. And I said, never again. That drove me nuts. So, next up, Brent. Now you know why I got into this.
Have you got a time?
Yeah.
What's the time? All right.
2 minutes.
I'll try.
That's easy. That's a long time, actually.
All right, someone tell me when 9 minutes is up.
I will.
Thanks. I'm Brent Adamson. I'm from not Garden Valley, not Lowman, but Duquette Pines. Based on redistricting, Duquette Pines, which is about 3 miles away from Idaho City, it is now part of District 2. And so, it is, the map is a nightmare. The good news is, they did, in my opinion as a mapper, they did the best job they could. Because it's a requirement to balance all 3 districts, population-wise. And you have to be within 10%, they'd like to have you within 3. And so they tried to pick neighborhoods instead of splitting towns in half. So this is what happened. So, I don't see anybody here from Duquette Pines. So you guys can not like me, that's fine, and vote for one of the local favorites, or I'm your new local favorite, depending on how you look at it. I will tell you a bit about myself. Can I ask one question of you, though, first? I've done this before, and I just think it's important for me, so I tailor the topic, and I don't go 25 minutes. By the way, I'm a preacher by trade, so I can. How many did not live here in Boise County in 2014? Close to half in this crowd. All right, so that's good. So I'll split the difference for y'all. In 2007, I became the assessor for this county, and that office was a mess. I left it, and 8 years later, in good shape. Prior to that, by the way, I've been in Idaho 40 years, so not to pick on a candidate, but there's a good chance I've lived in Idaho longer than Clay. just saying, Clay. Not that makes you the candidate of choice. I don't get it, but to me, it struck me as funny when I got to thinking about it. So I've been in Boise County about 30 years. My wife and I have raised 5 kids. We're kind of a combination family. We've raised 5 kids. 3 of them we put through the Basin School District. I was a trustee at the Basin School District for more than 2 decades. So that's almost a career. I have been a preacher for eons, off and on, small congregations, large congregations. Right now, I work with a coffee house church in Idaho City. A year and a half ago, my wife and I bought the Boise Basin Mercantile, and we invited the coffee house church in to have Sunday services there. And they restarted their thrift store. So if you need something, and the one up here doesn't have it, come see us. It's a great thrift store. They're doing a good job. The girls are constantly moving stuff, and stuff's going out the door. And the positive thing about tourism, we have a ton of tourists taking stuff. So the proceeds from the thrift store go to, and I want to make this one point just because there's one person who's wandering around this county accusing me of being a liberal. And he's right. I am. I'm liberal at giving. I've given over 20 years to the school district as a trustee. We give thousands of dollars to the school every year, just out of our personal checkbook. We take care of all kinds of things. We work with a monstrous food program in the Christmas arena time frame. During the rest of the year, we support the food bank. Both myself, my wife, and a nonprofit that we work with, and the church, we give and we give and we give and we give. We are very liberal in all of that. I've raised 5 kids that know how to do that. and they all have good jobs and they're all doing great. That's what liberal should point to, not politics. Politics, I'm probably as crazy Republican as anybody that's running for office. I'm NRA, I'm Christian, obviously, and I am involved in everything that goes to protecting our freedom. Always have. Been a first responder off and on most of my life, either as EMS support or as fire. Currently, I'm a fire commissioner in the Idaho City area. We volunteer, we do all kinds of things. We pull people out of the ditches constantly. I learned that when I was on the farm. Gets muddy, you start looking for taillights in the ditch. And you help people out. It's what we do. In the assessor's office, for those of you the half of you that know me from the assessor's office, the stuff we tried not to tell you was how big of a mess it was. But I'll guarantee you this, if you were one of those folks that had a very good deal on your property, when it came to property taxes and valuation, you start paying your fair share. Because that's the one solution for property tax problem, is making everybody pay the way the system is set up. Now, to that point, as already mentioned, the system's a mess. We are one of 6 states in the nation that require, by the state statute, for your property to be valued accurately as to what it would sell for on January 1. We are one of fewer than that states that we can't force you to tell us what you paid for the house. And if you don't help us figure out what you paid for the house, then the law says we can exaggerate. And most of us exaggerate, in the assessor world, we exaggerate up, not down, to the value of the house. These sorts of things make a mess for property tax. I could harp and carry on about what we did in the assessor's office, but it's real short in about 2 sentences. We read the law, we followed the law. On a separate note, the assessor, who was me for 8 years, spent every legislative session in Boise, working with the legislators and working with the Association of Counties to try to get them to get off the hump, because it's them that have to fix the system. A couple of things that have already been mentioned is doing something for the seniors. The circuit breaker program is great, but it has not been improved to any grade. It's been improved as great as your grocery tax has been improved. If we want to help those that have bought that riverfront property, we really need to revamp that system so that it takes care of them if they truly are meeting those requirements. And the second thing we need to do with property tax, and it will not be done by me and you, it will be done at the state level, but it will be done by us doing things to the state that let them know that our system now doesn't work. Nationwide, we've proven it doesn't work. And when you live in one of the 6 states that does property tax like us, it makes a great pressure on people that have actually lived long enough to pay their house off, whether they qualify for circuit breaker or not. One interesting factoid is what you pay in property tax is still about the same percentage you paid in property tax 10 years ago, as far as percentage of budget for the county. The county budget, a little less than 50% comes directly out of your pocket. And the balance of 50+% comes from a variety of things, including the federal government. Sales tax, liquor sales, grants, all kinds of things make up the difference. All of that has to be looked at the state level, mostly, to see how counties are impacted. The other thing that Boise County is quickly becoming, most people used to laugh at it 10 years ago, but we're becoming a tourist trap. And whether we like that or not really isn't the point. I think the point is we have to admit it. And then we have to figure out what kind of benefits can we have by being a tourist trap. Can we do a different type of taxation? Can we be involved in some of these plans where one county helps another county?
1 minute.
Thank you, sir. These are the things we can do to look for improving who we are as a county. I'm pretty confident that every one of us that stands before you right here will tell you that the best person for the job. So I will too. I believe I'm the best person for the job because I'm level-headed, I'm logical, I can work with anybody that will work with me. And I know the county system. I've been involved in it, and I've been involved with Idaho government. Not my entire life, but in and out to fix problems. So, Brent Adamson, May 17th. Easy to remember. I'm your new best friend.
Excellent. Well done.
Questions?
Sorry, Annie.
We're stepping on it. Yes. Questions? Oh, Tracy.
Hi, Brent. I have a question for you regarding the districts. You would be the county commissioner for District 2 if you were to win, but
Yes.
you mentioned also that you are a fire commissioner for Idaho City.
Yeah, for the Idaho City area.
Yeah, how do those districts differ and why? Is basically.
Well, a commissioner for a fire district is only in districts that are a taxing district. So a taxing district is just like a library taxing district, just like a county, everything else, they have commissioners. If I was to win the primary or win the race and become your commissioner, which is what I would like, then I will step down as a fire commissioner. There is no law that precludes me from doing both except my wife and my children.
And that's the law.
Right. And so it only makes sense to have someone focus on that. It's a new district. The governor appointed me because he knew I could do it, to be honest, because I had county experience to start a brand new taxing district in a county like ours. So I was a favorite appointee of the governor at the time. But yeah, I would not be a fire commissioner. I'll probably stay on the roster, just because I've been on that roster for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Two questions. One, the tax trap on tourists. I'd like to hear a little bit more on your ideas on that.
Well, probably trap wasn't the appropriate word, but when you speak all your life like I do, then sometimes the wrong word slips out. There is some taxation that's available at the local level. It's mostly cities, but there's conversation about having a tax that would impact that you would collect tourist dollars. So in other words, the toll road is a good example. The toll road, if we did it right, and I don't know if we can do it. The lawyers were very unhappy when Fred tried to do that, and everybody was all over him and said, don't do it. But the idea is great. But you have to exempt us,
Yes.
right?
I don't know if it's exempt. It's just reduce the fees, right?
Well, you could do either. And maybe the lawyers are more unhappy if you exempt us, but if you reduce the fee, then you're showing favoritism just as bad. So I think anybody that's not a citizen. One of the things that I always thought was a great idea, and I had a friend that was looking at buying a grocery store in Idaho City, and price it, you can well imagine. Oh, by the way, Idaho City has the highest gas price in Idaho, in case you're curious. Someone bought the gas station, and we were already high, now we're higher. So it's worth driving to town, just about. But a company, grocery store, a gas station which is doing it, I don't know about the one here. I mean, the prices are high and it costs more to get the stuff here, but not much, to be real honest. If you have the price up and then offer a resident discount, I would like to see some sort of taxation process that would work that way in other things just besides food and gas and groceries. But I really believe if the business owners would get busy and work on something like that, and I'm fairly confident based on what I know about other states, it's not illegal to offer discounts, right? I mean, Fred Meyer gives me a discount on fuel. If we could have a resident discount at the grocery store, and then they can jack their price up a little bit more, even if it's 5% or 10%, then the people that come and spend time here get more money back into each of the cities. Now, the bigger problem, I think, and I don't have an answer for this, but I would sure love to work on it, and I may even work on it whether you vote me or not, is what could we do about road damage? You have any four-wheelers that come up here? I'm joking because I've been up here in the summers when I was an assessor and you can't see. It's the same down there. It's just the same. And the side-by-sides don't make it any better because they go faster and don't fall over as often. There's got to be something we can do to respond to that, even if it's get more money from the federal government, since a lot of the land they drive in is federal government land. I don't have that answer, to be real honest. I know that our forest funds, Treasurer just deposited $1 million from our forest funds yesterday, by the way. Our forest funds go to that type of work. LTAC, an operation that works with government money and passing out to the various entities in counties, works with that. And I think we need to be a voice, and I don't know where Ryan's been at this so far, maybe he'll speak to it, but we need to be a voice in these areas where we can to say we exist. We are not rednecks like you think we are. We're actually intelligent people that want to live a beautiful life, and we would like to have our fair share. Because if we take it away from somebody else, then they suffer. I believe in fairness. I mean, being a preacher, I'm kind of bound by the code, right? And I'm one of the good guys on that, by the way. I don't have a rich house and I don't have 2 airplanes, so.
Kind of scared to ask my second question. Put a time limit, 1 minute. I'm curious about that circuit breaker. That's the first time I've ever heard about it, but I'd be curious about how you would think about it, like a sliding scale or something like that.
Circuit breaker, you have a limit on what you can earn. And you have to qualify either by being over 65, disabled veteran, a mother and fatherless child, which sounds kind of like an oxymoron, but it really means you lost both your parents. And then you get a reduction in your tax, not your property value, in your tax. But that amount of reduction has been stuck at one number, which is around $1,300 for a long time. And so, $1,300 seems like a lot in your property tax, but if you're on the river, it's not, right? And so this isn't a reduction in your value, it's a straight cash reduction. They say, okay, to the county, they say, okay, this person's qualified, because the forms they feed through your assessor's office and they go to the state. State then runs it and qualifies you or disqualifies you, and then you can appeal the whole process of fairness. But you need more than $1,300 if you've got riverfront. And what if you are 70 and you've got a 5,000 square foot house and horses? Should that be a penalty? That shouldn't be a penalty. So therein it's where, it used to be, the old folks lived in a 2-bedroom house. And 1 bedroom was barely large enough for the dog. And they didn't have any land. Well, that's not who we are as people. And so there's been a lot of talk at the assessor level because they drive this program. And when I was there, we did a lot of work to try and get things better. But to get the legislature to change is tough. I mean, we got $20 on our grocery tax.
Yeah.
I think we ought to keep the grocery tax personally. And then we ought to get what a family of 4 would buy in groceries for a year, as far as that rebate back, not an extra $20 on top of $20 or $100, whatever it is. So, I mean, those kinds of things in a non-election year for the legislature work better. This year they gave us $20. They were stupid. They should have given us 50, and we wouldn't have squawked as loud. All right, that's
Okay.
plenty of time.
I have a question. I own my own business, so I know how much time that takes.
Mm-hmm.
So you, as a business owner
Mm-hmm.
and a preacher,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're the county commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
when are you going to have time to come all the way over here from Idaho City to see your constituents in Garden Valley and Lowman?
Whenever you call me. Period.
You're not going to have time.
No, I do. Let me tell you this.
I want more.
I raised 5 kids. I'm exhausted. I was the assessor and worked 60 hours a week or more.
I saw you quite often.
I was on the school board and one of the few trustees over the course of 20 plus years that spent more time than just going to the board meeting. I will do that as a county commissioner. But here's where the plus is. My business is a building that I repair or hire somebody to repair. I don't have a business in it. I work, in fact, I have a nonprofit that manages the building. And so they control it, and they call me when something breaks. Or I call them and say, I'm going to go tear up this floor, because I haven't got every floor good yet. And so you can't have that piece. And so half the building we can't even use, because I don't want them to. But I do that all in my spare time. I mean, it becomes our vacation now. My wife was the one that figured this out, because she had a bunch of ideas when she retired from the Air Force. So, no school board, no fire commissioner, which I'm amazed how much that spends when you're the guy that knows everything in the fire commission. And that takes a lot of my time. But we've been without a clerk for the last 4 months. I'm training a new one next week.
Okay.
So that's good. So I will have time.
Okay.
And I will probably give you more time than you've gotten from some of your commissioners lately.
Okay.
That's a guarantee and a no-brainer. I had to get my wife gave me the clearance to. I'll just be flat out honest. By the way, she's 40 years air guard.
Wow,
So.
amazing. Well, and that's one of the things that really has bothered me is it seems our commissioners don't have time to get out and talk to us anymore. And there are a lot of people, we just can't go to Idaho City. I'm running my own business, I can't go over for the meetings.
I get
So
that.
that's
So
a
here's
big thing.
here was something I would suggest. Granted, I drive a little longer to get here, right? I did it tonight. I was solving a fire problem before I left, and I left too late, and Alder Creek was a bigger mess than it was 3 weeks ago, so I didn't make it here on time. But I can guarantee you, based on who I am, that if we set up regular meetings, or if we set up spot meetings, or if you have a need that I don't know about, because I do have a telephone, and I do have an email, and I'll have another new email now, or an old email, maybe it's the same one I used to have, who knows. But I'll have an email, and so that communication is easy. Coming here and talking to you for a local problem that needs to be solved in Garden Valley, I can do that. Any commissioner technically could, but I'm your guy, right? I'm your new favorite person in life. So all you got to do is pick up the phone and say, Brent, what night works for you?
Okay.
We need you.
All right. Sounds good.
And I'll do it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Oh, Janice?
Being new here, how many commissioners do we get?
There are 3 in the county.
Oh,
Usually one from Garden Valley Loman. Sorry, Brent.
It's all right. I get it.
One from Horseshoe Bend, Centerville. Okay, yep. And then Idaho City, which encompasses quite a bit of area down there.
so we vote on 3.
We vote on all of them, but the one who holds the Idaho City seat does not run this year. He will in 2 years. Okay? Anybody else?
And they're coming in for 2 years?
2 years, right?
Uh,
Or is it 4?
It's 4, District 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, 4.
This is, District 2, and both of these seats are up for 4 years
Right.
right now.
Right.
But they rotate. 1 year you'll be up, have a 2-year term, and then the next year you'll have a 4-year term. They do that to make sure they never have 3 commissioners up at the same time, so they have some longevity.
Okay. All right. I think you're off the hook. Thank you, sir.